the night of the fire, he refused to open the gate down there.
Yeah, here, hold on a second. I want you to tell that story on camera here for people to hear what happened.
Well, November 23rd, 1992, at about 10 minutes to 4, I called my uncle up here at the ranch. I was living on North River Road in Sweet Home. And phone rang a long time, he finally answered. And I said, "Hello, Daryl." And he said, I said, "This is Sam." He said, "Sam," he says, "get all the help you can and get up here quick." He says, "The house is on fire." He says, "We're burning up." I couldn't even tell him to get out of the house. The phone went dead. I handed the phone to the wife and I told her to call the fire department. I got my 1-ton, 64 Dodge 1-ton crew cab jobby and I headed up here. Well, I didn't come up the main road because I had to deal with 2 gates, and I started to just drive through them. Instead of driving through them, I went around a logging road because it was open. Chris Cozart was up there on the logging road. I hollered at him that Uncle Daryl's house was on fire. He said, "I'm waiting here for the fire truck." So I went on up. There was a pole gate right down here just to come into the edge of the property, and I don't even remember. I drove through it. From the crossroad down there clear to the house here, coming second gear, I had it wound full to the max. I got here and the house was on fire, and the fire was coming out between these 2 oak trees up here behind you. And the house stood right there. And the only thing that was left standing was the stairwell going upstairs in the bottom floor. And I pulled in up there by the garage. I had a 14-pound chemical extinguisher. I grabbed that, and you couldn't see anything around the house because all the smoke and flames coming at you. So I ran around the back. There's a 280-gallon propane tank that had just been filled. And there was fire all around that. I hit that with the extinguisher and got it out, and I reached in and I shut the propane off. And I hit the lid, and it took the whole back of my hand off. It was that hot. I
can see the scar there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the scars from it. I never even felt it.
I remember at church you wearing the bandage for that.
I went around the back porch. That's the only thing standing. I kicked the door open, and a flame come out and knocked me on the ground. And I figured nothing could live around that. I run back around the front, and the wind took the flame back through the house. I could see my uncle underneath the edge of the porch, and I thought he was dead. And then I seen him reach to crawl. And I thought it was spasms on the body, or he was still alive. So I hit his coat and stuff with the fire extinguisher, and I started to hit more above him, and I thought that powder from the extinguisher might smother him. So I threw it down, went in on my hands and knees because the heat was so hot, and I grabbed him by the heels, and I started pulling him out, and he slipped out of my hands. The heels were plastic, and they were melded into my hands. I never felt it. I grabbed him by the ankles, and I said, "Daryl, this is Sam. I'm getting you out of here." He said, "Okay. Well, you got a live man. You can do something then." So I pulled him out between the 2 oak trees, and Chris showed up, and I told him about that tank behind, and he grabbed the extinguisher, went around there, everything was okay, and then the fireman showed up. And I'm standing there with both hands like this, holding the IVs while their paramedics are in taking care of him with the IVs. And one of them looked at me and said, "Were you in the fire?" I said, "No, I just pulled him away from the fire." He said, "You're getting that paramedic unit right now." So then I get in there, and they wrapped both hands up because they were so badly burnt. And my nose burnt, my ears peeled from the heat. The doc said I would have been blind if I hadn't had a duck-billed hat on. Well, I'm standing there with my hands like this, and this fireman comes up to me and he says, "I'm sorry about the white gate, Sam." And it was the second fire truck that come in. I said, "White gate, what's that got to do with this?" "Oh, when I come through my property, I didn't have a key to it, so I had to break it." That was John Marble. We'd been fighting over the right-of-way here for the last 3 or 4 months because I was trying to get a trailer up here to take care of Uncle Darryl. Well, I started to deck him, and I just pulled back to deck him, and they come over his radio that they were in Holly, and Newton was breathing on his own. So I said, "I ain't got time for this. I got to be in the hospital when he comes to." there'd be some family there. So had the wife take me to Lebanon, and I got over there, and I'm sitting there with both hands up like this, and they're taking information from me. And they said, you know he didn't make it. I said, no. Last I heard he was in Holly, and he was breathing on his own. They said, no, smoke inhalation killed him. 14 days to the day of the fire, Marble shows up at our house up on North River Road out of Sweet Home with an envelope. And he says, oh, I fixed the gate, and here's a key to it. I said, I'm not living behind no locked gates for you or anybody. Well, this will explain it all. He started laughing, jumped in his pickup, and took off. So I come back up here to the ranch later. Next morning, there's no gate. There's barbed wire across the road, 14 feet from the gate. I looked at that and I said, there's a ribbon in the road showing where the property line was. And he's 14 feet past it. I just drove through his barbed wire, come on up here and took care of things as best I could because everything was burnt to the ground. And then he called the state police on me for destroying his gate. A bunch of barbed wire, that's no gate, that's a concentration camp. So anyway, I told the cop, I said, here, put the cuffs on, take me to jail. Go ahead. Here's the paper showing what we own. Well, no. So he set it so far ahead they threw it out, and then Marble started a lawsuit against this right away. It cost me $54,000. So I give him a bad time down there to the back gate, and I had a recording of it. And I said, you know, you said that, why didn't you open the gate and let the fire truck out, ambulance out? It's a mile and a half shorter. Well, in my professional opinion, it was better for them to go the other way. What's he? A turd counter over at Corvallis' sanitation plant. You know,
Jeez.
He's gone up here on the hill in this low spot over here and shot over the house just to intimidate us.
Man.
I mean, literally. Now, I hate to have this in my heart, but you live with it.
Yep.
Every day.
And what was your uncle doing underneath the porch? I know the story,
He'd come off the porch, and his cat run underneath the house, and he was trying to get the cat. And that's when the fire knocked him down.
Yeah.
The smoke.
He's trying to save the cat.
Trying to save the cat.
Did the cat survive, or?
No, neither the cat nor the dog. They both died in the fire.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
But he's harassed me from that day to this. Now, I've been asking him to replace that piece of crap gate over there for 15 years. A neighbor that owns adjoining property to him has got a tow bumper on his pickup. And he deliberately pushed on the gate one way and pushed on it the other way until he broke it up. I didn't break it. Garrett Warren broke it with his pickup. You know? And so Marble, my wife told his wife the other day that needed to be replaced, about 6 months ago. She says, well, when it falls completely apart, we'll think about it. I'm required to keep it shut. You know, so you're dragging this thing back and forth to get in and out. So finally I got another piece of gate, another gate, and I put that on there yesterday on my own expense.
You know what I would suggest you do with that gate down there?
But
Weld some spikes to it that are about this long.
yeah.
Big enough where if he pushes up into it, it's going to get his radiator.
No, he doesn't come up here anymore.
Okay.
He came up with his road grader and he graded the road from the crossroad down there to the back gate. And then he called me and he said, well, I fixed your road for you. When I went down there, it sloped, it drained. Well, you got to have ditches. So then he cut ditches. Well, then he said, I didn't touch your rock. He buried my rock 1.5 feet deep. First rain come, I couldn't get in or out. And it cost me $2,250 to repair my road with rock and lost the sales of firewood.
Yeah.
And just because Garrett Warren done that. And he's the same asshole that pushed that gate. So what do you do? It all ties together.
Yeah.
You live with it. Oh, got to be something better in life.
Yeah.
Let's look at sawmills.
Yeah, let's check out the sawmills. I got some questions to ask.